Welcome back to Morning Joy. Looking at a live picture of the White House. President Obama, the man who lives there, was in Denver yesterday signing the stimulus bill into law. It comes with $787 billion in spending and high hopes that it will help Americans, of course. But at over 1,000 pages, people are still reading through it and discovering what's in it, and a lot of critics are looking very closely. Our report from NBC senior investigative correspondent Lisa Myers.
Added behind these doors in the final draft of the stimulus package, $8 billion for high-speed rail projects. Critics say some of that is likely to go for a pet project of Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid, a magnetic levitation rail line from Las Vegas to Disneyland near Los Angeles. Critics say such projects may be good for Vegas and other locales, but they're not critical national priorities.
There's lots of things around this country. People talk about crumbling infrastructure. That's where we should be putting our resources rather than to some sort of gleam in Senator Reid's eye.
Another provision designates $1 billion for clean coal technology, which Senate Democrat Dick Durbin says he hopes will revive the Future Gen coal project in Illinois, killed by the Bush administration after costs doubled. The Washington Post called the project prohibitively expensive, one of many items attacked by Republicans.
The cost is too great.
It's a wrong approach.
You have to be kidding.
Misdirected spending spree.
Critics complain that Democratic Party priorities get big money: education, health care, communities, the arts, without enough specifics.
And what we end up doing is handing over big pots of cash to federal agencies and to states and letting them spend it how they want.
Democrats say that misses the point of what this package is supposed to do.
Then you get the argument, well, this is not a stimulus bill, this is a spending bill. What do you think a stimulus is?
Conservative economists say that though some of the spending is worthwhile, the package is not properly designed to stimulate the economy.
It's going to waste a lot of money, particularly on the expenditure side. On the tax side, it doesn't provide incentives. It's basically throwing money at people. It's not the useful way to expand the economy on either side.
Then there is the price tag. If the package creates or saves 3.5 million jobs as predicted, it will cost $250,000 per job. The Obama administration says the cost of doing nothing would be much greater in human and economic terms. Lisa Myers, NBC News, Washington.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Fascinating that there's a tram from Vegas to Disney, but if you're Wells Fargo, you can't send a few employees to Vegas.
Did they say $1 billion tram? So let's get this straight. So they can spend over $1 billion on a Vegas project there, help Harry Reid, but they scream and yell at Wells Fargo if they send a couple of bankers out to Vegas for a meeting. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, I think they blew it for Obama already. I mean, they got their time in the sun to put together their package. They threw everything they could. They crammed it all in there. And already, look at how people are reacting to it. They're unhappy with it. You know, and it's not President Obama's fault. They blew it for him.
But at the same time, President Obama, when he goes out and he says, what do you think a stimulus bill is? Spending. He's not being. That's a little disingenuous, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, every dollar of stimulus, every dollar of spending doesn't mean that that's a dollar of stimulus.
Yeah, and there is, of course, and I'll keep going back to Larry Summers, but Dylan, Larry Summers back in October said there are very specific guidelines to what a stimulus package does, how you spend that money. And if you spend it wrong, Larry Summers said, the economy actually ends up being in worse shape than it was before.
There's no question. We're incurring debt to do this to begin with. It's not like we're going to our checking account and you're daddy and you're writing a check to help make things happen. You're taking your credit card and saying, I'm going to borrow another $1 trillion on a hope that I can make this happen, which only makes the threshold for being right and practical in the spending of this money that much higher.
A stimulus package is an investment in the future of the economy and jobs. That would be like saying, if I spent back in 1999 $1,000 on e-pets, that would be equally as important as spending $1,000 on General Electric.
It's all true. What you're saying is true. What adds to my frustration, and when I look at this, is you can spend what you want to spend. until you come to terms with the banking system and force the banking system to recognize its losses and allow the good banks, of which there are plenty out there, to come in to play here and stop coddling and dealing with the bad banks, as it were, that you're not, you can stimulate till the cows come home. Until you deal with the banks, you're not going to see a lot of action.
It's not going to be, we need to get the recapitalization going of these banks. And I don't know if it's a bad bank. I don't know what the solution is, but this economy is not going to come back unless the banks are there and they're striving and there's confidence in the bank.
And again, talking about money spent wisely and money spent unwisely in the stimulus package, it's an opportunity that is lost. When the federal government spends $3, for every $3 it spends, economists believe that crowds out $1 of future investment from the private sector. So if you just spend all this money recklessly, there's an unnecessary crowding out. Again, you're not investing in the right things, and you still get, like you said, the banks over here that are in crisis.
Well, the biggest example of that is AIG. We've given AIG $150 billion. Does anybody have anything to show for it, or did it just help the counterparties on the other side of the trade of AIG?
It did help Joe Cassano keep that $260 million he made selling credit default swaps, which, again, you're welcome, Mr. Cassano.
Yeah, you're welcome. Please. Coming up next, on that happy note, Andrew Mitchell is live in Indonesia. Also, Chris Matthews.